Hello, everyone. Welcome to the KatChat Podcast. I'm here today with the that author named Peter Quint. He wrote two amazing books, and I was very lucky enough to read the pre-book, the manuscript, everything. So the two books are called Within Silence and Within Surrender. Have them here. These books are amazing. They're related with Peter's life of fiction. So we're here to talk more about his book and his writing career. So welcome, Peter. Okay, let me know what made you want to become an author or a writer. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Really, high school, I was a member of newspaper class in my high school a long time ago. At that time, I wrote articles, things, you know, people notice good writer. So me respond, so I later college English, majoring in English, small private college, California, graduated. Then what I do, a teacher after that. And really, my career for 2 years, half teach stuff, half teach ASL. But at the same time, I had a story, okay, in my head, okay. For 30 years, I had a story, okay. Understand, okay. And, but, well, okay. So I have a well hearing part of me and I have a deaf part of me. Okay. And I've always struggled with that. I've always struggled with that, that it's never really just easy in me.
Mhm.
Okay. So I thought I should write a story about that. But I didn't want it to be like memoir. I didn't want it to be a memoir like about my life. I wanted it to be fiction. Okay. So I created two brothers. Name is Jeremy. He's hearing. He represents the hearing part.
Mhm.
Okay. That grew up well, okay. More of the angry part of me. The deaf part of me is younger brother named Julius. Okay. And he represents that part of me. More with God, more stable, better. So in 2018, started writing just right. And ooh, I had good story. And then COVID hit and I finished, submitted it for publication. So that's the first book. Then published this book, this one,
Mhm.
Resilient. I find Resilient Island's first book. Okay. Then published in 2021. Finished. But I had another story too. Steph's brother and his best friend in high school, she's deaf. So really, the second book
Mhm.
is the story of oh sweetheart with Julius. So this, yeah, recently published.
I ran both, but I had a really great opportunity to get a sneak peek in the second story, and I'm just amazed about your skills with writing. Like I know it's hard to write a memoir stuff
Yeah.
like story, but then you want a story. So I know we talked the previous year about your book and my thoughts on my own book. So how did you come up with an idea before you don't want a boring memoir life of Peter? How to like transform into a story, a character? Because now I'm learning more and more about those books. Two characters represent you.
Yeah.
Healy world,
Yeah.
that world, and you have frontier, and it seemed to me near to the last of the second book, seemed like both of the worlds are like merging, and Juliet and Sitka come together, and she was able to bond with her mom, and you were able, Juliet was able to bond with Sitka, overcome trauma, communication barriers. Just amazing. So I'm curious, like, what motivates you for an idea to write a story, and how was the process for that?
You're right, the girl name, well, really her adopted.
Yeah.
She was adopted by an American woman, but bad and stupid. Why? She was deaf. So don't know her name. And so a later she was adopted, American woman, gave her a name of Amy. Okay. Okay, but hearing a woman naming her daughter Amy. Okay. So really, okay. So eventually she finds out her name, okay, and her name sign, right, you know, yeah, see, right. Okay. So you both of us are deaf, right?
Mhm.
Know that our deaf identity, our journey to understanding ourselves, our journey through the trauma, living in a world not made for us, doesn't fit us. Hearing world not made for us. So that journey, not easy. And for that person, it's individual, not the same. Some people easier, some tough, some, down. Okay, so I want to represent that in my okay. So what I did was I developed characters. Okay. For example, character of Jeremy. Jeremy. Okay. He's angry.
Mhm.
He's like in a prison of anger. He can't escape from it. So, there's a lot of men, many men, women too, who must do something. Ooh, I'm angry. I feel this way. Must something. So that's him. Okay. So eventually he picks running. That's his escape. That's his, you know, but Julius also angry too, you know. But he's angry. Why? Because he feels oppression from here in the world. So his response is positive and negative. So the negative what is he tends to be back, anger, who oppresses him. Positive, very strong faith, God. That's his was God. Okay. So that's him. That's him. Okay. Then we have Amy, who becomes the Sita. Okay. Very angry too. Okay. So she was abandoned. She was like a street kid Her mom was a baker, abandoned India. Why? Mom couldn't with her. So that, mother, who is my mother? Who do I belong to? What my culture? What's my name? And Amy. And it's also part of our journey as deaf people is how we relate with family, with friends, with other people. So I wanted to represent all of these themes, identity in each character. So that's what I did. I just started with a story of two brothers. So I developed the character of Julius, developed the character of Jeremy. Eventually, my second book developed the character of Thea. And it's just story I kind of wrote itself.
It's amazing because when I read both the stories, I feel like I relate. I mean, yeah, Peter Pan of the Dark World and Huey World when you were born in the Huey family. Of course, there bound to be barriers or challenges or
Yeah,
struggles or identity.
yeah,
So really interested. I really enjoyed the dynamic of everyone, their family, their relationships, and I really love how the two brothers developed hearing version of Peter, that version of Peter, Jeremy and Juliet both combined, and they shared a connection of running eventually. And I thought that I was like, whoa, okay, competition between both. Both are angry. He's trying to help. He doesn't want help. Okay, I really was like, when Julian won, and Jeremy like, you were supposed to let me win. What happened? It was furious because I was really interested. And then later, Jeremy was able to do it. But tell me, were there any challenges or any struggles during the process? Because I feel like the flow from book one to book two, I was like, read, I'm like, I need more. Okay, I need to know what happened. And then when we talked about Jeremy, his background, and how his hearing, I was like, wow, okay, that fun gave me. I was like, okay, I need to know what happened. Okay.
okay, so really, one theme, big theme in the book is loss. How lose something. Both of the brothers lost their father. Okay, the
Mhm,
father was killed. Okay. Um, Julius lost his hearing. Okay. So he lost that easy connection with his mother and his brother.
mhm,
Jeremy, well, Jeremy also lost the father, and he lost that with his brother, because of deafness.
mhm.
So loss, ooh, with loss, okay? And so that was kind of like how we deal with losing something, okay? So how do you redeem, another theme is redemption,
Mhm.
redemption. So from that loss, how redeem yourself? Okay, what do you do? What do you depend on? What? Okay, that now to answer your question, I have a really good professional editor herself. Herself is sister of a deaf adult, so she grew up with deaf sister. She grew up signing everything, so she understands deaf experience. So my books are all about the deaf experience. For example, it's all,
Mhm.
okay, and then this one too. See, so the deaf experience is not one thing.
It's
Mine is
all of that.
mine is unique. Yours is unique. you know. But so she understood that. But she just of how, okay, a story, really rough story, and how the pieces, oh, said, this chapter I'll move into later. Start with this. Eliminate some chapters. This character developed. She and I, like, that's why it flows really well, because I had a really good editor.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I want to know how, when you started the book, what made you feel I need to incorporate my experience of hearing world, like that culture experience. Like I've noticed in both books you have QR codes. I'm curious because I'm like, oh, shall we understand how? And each chapter well, the first book is not much, but like the second book, each chapter will have the name and then eventually name signs. So tell me about how that you feel I should incorporate QR token. I barely see any book with more accessibility or more hands-on experience teaching
Yeah.
time. So tell me more about that.
Now let me look for six- I'm looking for page one. Okay, yeah. Okay, I think two answers to that. Number one is, see, my experience between the hearing and the deaf world, like I say, is unique. Okay, what I comfortable with the hearing world and what triggers my anger is unique to me. That's in this book. You know, for example, not being included in groups of people, okay? Especially if the deaf space supposed to be a deaf space. I go there and people forget, don't include me. That triggers me. But I'm okay with
Oh,
code switching from more deaf signing to listening and speaking, depending on the situation. I'm comfortable. So I'm not comfortable with that, but that's me. So that's, I have like minor character that's a lot. Okay. Now, QR codes. Okay. One thing that's very challenging to people, hearing people, is access to the deaf world. Not everybody take ASL class. You know,
right.
not everybody has a deaf friend that they interact with. Not everybody, but many people want to know about the deaf world, want to know, want to learn. Okay, so how is one way of educating them, exposing them is by developing good stories and but written from a deaf perspective. Okay, so how these books are different than a lot of deaf books, like written about deaf, is they talk about deaf. They explain about the deaf, but not a lot of books. We have some really good books out there, but they're less of stories
Mm.
that ooh, how this character sees the world, experiences the world, and how they respond and how they relate as deaf people. So hearing people read it, but then they taste, understand deaf people a little bit. Okay, so that's why I include QR codes because, like, for example, um, Amy. In book one, her name is Amy. Book two ends up being Sita. But she's jealous. She's a jealous teenage girl at a dance. She likes Julius, okay? Now Julia goes to the dance with somebody else. Oh, she's jealous. Okay. So how she signs as a teenage girl who's jealous, who's deaf too, how she signs. So I have one word in there, that, working,
Yeah.
standard, So, so I mean, she sees that happening. She's like, so she signs, and so a hearing person that, oh, how did she sign that? So on the phone, oh, how she as a teenage girl would sign that. I
Yeah.
demonstrate. So that's why I have QR codes. Yeah. So yeah,
Really interesting. Yeah, I really enjoying things, just curious and see how that goes. Now, I want to talk about Amy that did the
yeah.
journey for book two because there was a lot. I mean, we had Bishop, Bit, Bishop to help, and we had the cop, and we had many, many, many different small that characters to help through the journey to please explain more about these minor characters and how they were impacting Juliet and Amy. The journey to finding out who Amy is.
Let me find a picture. Okay, one second.
No problem.
Hold on. Just give me a little bit about time here. Uh, Okay, good. Okay, so hard to answer that question. Okay, that journey of Amy to Theta. Okay, um, I need to honor a woman named Rebecca Covington, that artist. So she and I partnered together, and I explained the character of Amy in book one. So when Amy first gives Julius a name sign, so I asked her to draw that. Okay, so here's the
Hmm.
first one right here.
Yeah,
Okay,
a beautiful picture drawing, everything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's book one. Okay,
Mhm.
in book two,
Yeah.
Amy is
Mhm.
right there.
Yeah. Ah,
Uh, Julius, right there. And
beautiful.
Isha. Okay. So you're right. Amy herself, strong deaf identity. But inside her identity is like, who am I? Am I Indian? Am I American? What's my name? Her adopted mother,
Mm.
she doesn't like a prostitute woman, so she doesn't accept the name sign. It was that name sign was given to her by a woman. She
Mm.
doesn't like it. So she's like, but at the same time, uh, Mimi, when she first meets and gets to know Julius when they're 5 years old, recognize, oh, he needs a name sign. So she comes up and names him. Okay. But at the same time, Amy inside of herself. And then later in book two, you're right. It starts in India. She's abandoned, and then it jumps to she
Mhm.
becomes an adult. Now she's with Julius. Okay, but on the way, they have a deaf mentor. Okay, that guides them, two of them both, and they meet a woman named Visha. This woman, really, 5-year-old girl named Amy. um, on the streets was supporting her, a mentor. So another theme is mentorship. Mentorship. Who is a mentor? So Bisha is a mentor, a hearing mentor. And then Denise, I think Denise is a deaf mentor. So right, and so I had to develop characters that minor characters, but and they show something about Amy's development becoming Sita. Yeah,
That's amazing. I mean, I know you mentioned that both stories are like unique or personal to you because you've done traveling. So, like, let me know how to provide in basic or simple cultural background information of Amy being Indian or like where to go to grab inspiration for your book.
yeah. So the question is basically so cultural experience in India, right? I okay. My deaf identity was not developed in America. I was raised well, and then when I was about 3 years old, I went to uh, Pakistan, Pakistan to work over there. But yeah, over there, read lips. Pakistani people read lips. It was awful. So, but I worked with hearing people, and I was just like, but I met two deaf people over there, and I recognized who. Okay, so Pakistan is really close to India. Okay, so that experience back to America. Okay, but I've always liked the Indo-Pakistani culture, food, people, everything. Okay, then eventually I met an Indian woman who's deaf herself from India. Okay, and I married her. And so my wife is from India. Okay, her name is Pratibha. And so I've been in the outset many times. My home is half Indian, you know, an American. So that's that. So I see like, hey, she is a deaf Indian woman. So I see her identity, uh, intersectionality is complicated because she's from India, so she's culturally Indian, lives in America, and she's deaf, and she's a woman. So that intersectionality I watch. So there's a little bit of my wife, this and Amy, too.
Out of all of these books and you're writing just to get out your experience, your feeling, your connection with the hearing world and that world. How did that make you feel now? Do you feel comfortable in both worlds and to acknowledge yourself? This is me and my hearing world, my friends, family, this is me and my deaf world. And how did you feel about that? Think you wrote the book or think you were growing up and finally I'm that. I'm that. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna go from there. I'm not gonna myself.
Very, very empowering, empowering writing from, okay. Part of my hankering growing up is what do I do with these feelings? Because I was raised, but talk about my feelings. I was raised and then date hearing girls, but with them, I was raised join sports teams, but I, I felt kind of left on. But there was no like, how do I deal with this? So writing both of my books is empowering because my story is out there. Okay. You know, it's out there. It's out there. It's therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy. Therapeutic. I just want to know how I feel. Read.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
it's really interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just interesting. One time, as an author, I need to go and like book events and like promote my book, sell my book and everything. So one time I went to a book event table. Okay, my books, right here.
Mm-hmm.
There was one man that came up to me himself. He had a cochlear implant. Okay, really well, but he was older, deaf. Okay, but definitely, I don't think. Okay, so he came up to me. Now, that table, I had an interpreter with me.
I was just about to ask you, like, how
Yeah.
do with events?
Yeah, I had an interpreter with me. Okay. Now, he spoke. I didn't understand. I couldn't read his lips. So I looked at the interpreter who was signing. And then I looked back and noticed, man, upset. Yeah, he was upset, because my eyes would, but to him, okay, parallel, same with me, going. I try to get involved with like sports teams. Leave me. Don't think about my needs. Just leave me. Don't parallel with the guy. It was me. And now I wasn't like, no, it's just that I need access. So, uh, he was upset. He was like, why do you need this guy here? Talk to me. So I was like, whoa, do a discussion about feelings. Angry, right? I'm angry too. Why? Left out, just abandoned. And I said, you want to understand me? Of the powering. So he bought my book, so hopefully he understands better. Yeah.
That's amazing because I know some people don't get there's so many media and so many views of that. I mean, some that is just prefer stand only, or some stand to talk like they're supposed about, or those signs just talk about an implant to illness, many, and people have to understand that not just one, many, and all of them have their own feelings, their own perspective. So, like big D, little D, people
Right.
often ask me, I'm like, to be honest with you, either I'm not very picky, but I call myself that. I'm proud to be that. I accept myself being that when I hired Scarlett that was the first time I realized I'm like, oh, this in me. I went to RIT for a short time. I was like, yeah, not me. Could have been. It was like half. I was like, no, not me. So I left, went home for a little bit. Down, my phone was like, got it down. Ooh. I was like, really? Because you need to at E to a dial. At E means sign in that English. A dial means American Sign Language. So I was like, so I went to got it down. And that in me. So I prepared and so I was really interested to see how that people perceive themselves or others. Sometimes they will look at others, feel offended, like, you don't, you don't take pride in your deaf culture. What's up with that? So I was just curious, how do we raised in both worlds and how do incorporate yourself in the deaf culture and how do others that perceive you or look at you or how do you perceive them with between the difference because that world and that culture is huge. It's not
Yeah.
just Beatty Melody. It's
Oh.
everything.
Oh, um, well, that's a heavy question.
I know, I know. It's just, I
Yeah,
mean,
um, I get it. Uh, I think that, well, okay, strongly believe there's not one way of
right,
being deaf, you know. And I think right now I notice that in the world, America especially, is of deaf. What is the framework? Framework of deaf. What does it mean? Okay. And for example, deaf born, raised a deaf family, go to deaf school, maybe they go to deaf college, or like me and you, I think, stream learn SL later, or maybe start with C later. Still, you and me, we still have that part of us inside, you know? So when I notice this, you can't move that, you know?
no,
It's part of who we are, you know? And how we respond and the decisions we make, you know? So one of my challenges, um, two of my challenges is I taught for many years in deaf education. It's really positive because I have some good relationship with students and staff, but it was more negative because of the philosophy
mm,
of that was imposed, you know. So several places I worked, for example, philosophy of sign English, you know, and I've never learned. Okay, what I did from Pakistan back, got my master's degree, learned SL, and just immediately into the deaf community, joined deaf theater, not acting, board, leadership of deaf, deaf sports, everything. Dated an interpreter, and then eventually I married a deaf woman, you know. But anyway, so that, but I noticed that, you notice in my book, both of the antagonist side C.
yeah, yeah. I love reading over there, trying to do back. I'm really enjoying that.
Okay, there's a purpose for that, okay? And the purpose is for to represent a hearing imposed way of thinking and living, you know, and how it's perceived by deaf people. That's why I have the sentences be like word, dot, 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 word, dot, 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 word, dot, dot, dot. My experience with C is that, you know,
Mhm.
sign, must sign each word. So halfway through the sentence, I already know what you're talking about, but I have to be patient. I have to wait till you finish your message. Okay. Now, my intent is not to,
Right.
but my intent is to present a viewpoint of depth of one example of a hearing imposed system. Okay. So that, okay. Now, that's a challenge. So a challenge is what? That is English. Okay? It's not SL. It's English. Represents. It uses English sentences that represent SL. Okay? So I have explanation of that. So the problem is many deaf people in the deaf world, they notice I'm a deaf. I write in English. They Some of them assume either I'm hearing or I'm hard of hearing. Okay, just boom. Oh, you can't be deaf. Boom. And I'm like, I'm, I have a strong deaf identity. I compete. Okay. And so there's a place. There's a place for deaf authors in deaf literature. Before ASL, storytelling, theater, art, you know, but also it doesn't always include books that are written by deaf people. So I'm fighting to say, hey, this is art. So that's my challenge. So right now, do some of the powers in the deaf community recognize, oral ways, thinking in English. They notice that. So a little bit of kind of a little bit of that. So no, I'm included.
Definitely. Like you said, everyone is unique, or everyone was brought up the same or different way. Because sometimes poor at reading, writing, some are really, really, it just depends how they acquire language in their early life, whether it's talking first or signing first or both. Really, I was nervous when I was sharing you with my draft of the book. And because what are you so nervous about? You're writing and good, but it needs a little bit of work. I was like, that's what I was worried about. So I can converting English to a style or a style to a format of English for book purposes,
Yeah.
whether it's an English book or a slash English book. So yeah, that's the challenge because English is different. English like every single word. Why is simple sweet? You could go from 20 words to 5 words and it means the same thing.
Yeah. So it's interesting, fella. My first rough draft was
I was just about to
my
ask that. Like, what was your first draft? Like a story? Or was it just your actual life before it became a story?
okay. What I did was I just sat down and I wrote. Uh, I have like notebooks, and I write. First I must write with my hand. Finish, then I type it. Okay, 15 notebooks, 120 words. No, no, 120,000 words. Too much. First, novels, fiction are supposed to be 60 to 80,000.
Mhm.
So I had to like, so my first rough draft, it was, I mean, good story. So I found an editor and I gave it to her. I was really lucky to find her. I was just lucky. Wow. Yeah. I mean, God was with me, you know. I was like, and so she recognized the good story, but I mean, one third of it, and half of the chapters needed to, and there's too much swear words, to rough draft. Jeremy was like, and I mean, in the military, angry military guy, but so I had to that too. So because the audience, the audience includes young teenagers.
Yeah, from like you said, from your first book, your first draft, and finding you to publish your first book, were you a little bit more aware, obviously, or more organized to be able to go through with the
Yeah. Oh,
second
yeah.
book?
Yeah. I mean, you probably noticed that the second book is better than the first book. Okay, I mean that's my opinion. Many people say it's not bad. First book is not bad, but the second book is better. And just characters, suspense. It's because writing, I knew what I was
And I learned more
doing.
about all, or especially the between Jeremy and Juliet. Like, oh, that's why they were struggling on Jeremy because military and his pretty discharge because of the hearing loss and the trauma accident with his new job. I'm
Yeah,
not spoiling the book, but with his new job, he took his military something up, and he was thankful that Jeremy was there. I was like, what's going on? So it was really like a pivotal moment for the brothers and Jeremy especially too. So, whew.
yeah. So the parallel with life is that you and I, we have trauma. But see, this trauma teaches us resilience.
Mhm.
We go through it. We go through it, but we learn, we develop. And then later in life, that experience helps us to respond appropriately or to solve it.
Exactly, exactly. Well, to wrap up this, I want to ask you if you have any advice or suggestion for all of the young deaf youth out there or adults who are inspired to write their own book or story. What would you say to them?
Yeah. 90% of the time when I talk with other deaf people, many of them, I tell them I'm an author. I write books. Oh, I have a story. I have a story. It can be fiction, can be memoir, whatever, but they each have a story. Now, it doesn't have to be, can be like short poetry, or it can be a story, or it can be Stein becomes written translation, or it can be whatever. Can be like short stories, but what is preventing them is doubt, self-doubt. Oh, English. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Oh, if I write, maybe it's lousy, maybe people like it, or maybe they reject it. So many deaf people are used to rejection, that writing, I think, becomes a block of rejection. So pass through it. Do what? Sit down and write. Or sign, video yourself and ask the other person to write your story or whatever. Do it. Just sit down and write, draw, just and you will be amazed that, like, if you start and you develops the life of, and the story tells itself. So start.
Yeah, same for me. I'm
Yeah.
doing Kobe, and I told you I'm gonna write a book. But then Kobe hit and virtual school just took over my time, my life. I put it on pause. Now I would say maybe 2 years. I think it's over 2 years ago now. That I sat down that okay, I'm gonna try to be serious about this and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So I'll probably type, I don't know, 2,500 words in one city. That was like, okay, enough. I need to pause.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, sit down and write, and that I agree. I mean, for most writers out there, that or not, writing in therapy, especially if they're writing
Yeah.
about your life, your trauma, it you
Yeah.
feel okay. I'm better now, not 100%, but
Right.
push through, just like you said.
Yeah. So, how far are you, your book?
I'm good. I'm still tweaking on my career. part. But I want to make sure I didn't do too much or stay like I'm working on that part. But I feel good about the rest, just the career and what can. I'm trying to build a pile of stuff and hopefully I'll be ready for, I don't know, the editing phase. So I'm just getting there.
Yeah, I look forward to supporting you. And well, thank
Definitely.
you for your support of me too. Just
Absolutely.
yeah, authors must support each other, must include each other, must.
Definitely. Well, again, thank you for your time, Peter. Have a wonderful day, and I will include link and the transcription for book and other authors too. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Have a great day.
Wonderful.